committee to order at 6:45. Members present, Councilor Tavares and Councilor Waterman. First, we have Spencer Linz up for the Conservation Commission. Come on up, Spencer.
Good evening.
Name, address.
So my name is Spencer Linz. I've been a civil engineer for about 6 years now.
You're at 211 Pine Street?
I currently live at 211 Pine Street, Apartment 6.
All right. So go right ahead. Just explain to us why you want to do this, and what makes you qualified. Obviously, looking at your resume is obviously explains it all, but you can tell us.
Yeah. So, as a civil engineer for the past 6 years, I've taken a great interest in all things civil engineering. I work very intimately with the WPA and the Stormwater Handbook in the state, as well as local regulations just like Attleboro's. I have a really good feel on how other towns are handling the current water resources crises ahead of them, as well as the environmental ones. I take an active interest in this. I try to look at other development opportunities outside of my own 40 hours a week that I do for work. I'm very interested in community development, and very often am volunteering my time to other local efforts. I'm a big disc golfer, so I volunteer my time at local disc golf courses to sort of bolster their impact and the community around that sport. So, that's sort of where my active interest in joining the Conservation Commission comes from. I believe I'm very qualified as a result of my formal education at UMass Dartmouth, and the last 6 years of being a civil engineer. Like I said, I work intimately with all the local regulations, and I'm very actively being trained on and involved with all the issues that face the world as climate change sort of comes into full focus in these coming years, and how the regulations are going to sort of react to that, and how the public is going to sort of react to that.
All right. Just for everybody listening, for some that didn't get a chance to read over Spencer's application, his BS in civil engineering, civil and environmental engineering, stormwater is specialist, stormwater and erosion control certifications, certified soil evaluator, T5 inspector. So it's a lot of good things that are going to help out with the Conservation Commission on the board. So, any questions, comments?
No.
Council Waterman.
Your enthusiasm and your experience are real positive. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
In Attleboro, if you were to choose one issue that you would want to work on and try to help with, what would that be?
In Attleboro specifically, as a result of just development practices over the years in general, we're kind of running out of space in Massachusetts. In general, we're being very highly urbanized. So a lot of the efforts that are going to face development in general, as I face them, my 40 hours a week, is going to be how development continues in the face of urbanization that has occurred. And so we've got a lot of impervious areas, we've got a lot of wetland resources that we've sort of butted up against over the years, and we're kind of running out of space. So the redevelopment of currently contaminated sites, sites that are currently needing relief from WPA regulations, I think that's probably the biggest hurdle that Attleboro faces. And I think a lot of municipalities across southern Massachusetts and New England in general are going to face is the rampant urbanization and how we properly provide for the WPA in the face of that.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Councilor Tavares.
Thanks for coming out,
Thank you.
Spencer. And similar to Councilor Waterman's question, based on your experience as an engineer and working with other towns, being on your side of probably representing applicants who come before conservation boards and probably various cities and towns.
Yeah.
Thinking through it from the perspective of someone who might sit on that board, what are things that you would say in Attleboro that maybe we're doing well, or things that you see room for improvement on in terms of conservation?
Yeah, I mean, I attended last week's hearing just to sort of get a feel for the commission a little bit. And it really does feel like everybody who's on the commission seems very knowledgeable and very committed to the current conservation efforts in Attleboro and using the WPA as guidance for development. I would still continue to circle back to the urbanization aspect of things. There, just in Pine Street, I think it was like probably 6 months ago, they redeveloped a sidewalk, and cleared a bunch of trees and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm not intimately involved in what went on with that, but there's going to continue to be this sort of degraded infrastructure that Attleboro is going to continue to need to build up, and I'm sure you guys have dealt with a lot of the development that the city of Attleboro is trying to undergo in order to modernize a lot of the infrastructure that we have. So, that would be the one thing. It's hard to just stand up here and fault Attleboro for things. I'm trying to avoid it, but just guiding that redevelopment of currently degraded infrastructure is going to be a big key in sort of putting Attleboro on the map as it sits, sort of as a great hub for all the economic development that goes on in southern New England.
Okay, one follow-up. So just another follow-up question. Have you talked to the city planner, Mr. Rajian, at all?
Yes, I have. We had a conversation before I even sort of went through this process.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, he's been here in the city for decades and
Yeah.
a really good resource when it comes to sort of high-level trends of, where things are going, and he is intimately aware of everything that goes on in Attleboro. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where you ask him about a specific address and he can probably tell you about 20 years or 30 years worth of history.
That much was clear in our conversations, I would say.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Spencer. Appreciate it. This will be committee, council, and then you'll be probably getting an email to come on down and get sworn in at a certain point.
Okay.
All right, great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. No need for me to hang around.
No, you do not.
Awesome.
You don't have to.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. All right, from the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to approve the appointment of Spencer Lins, 211 Pine Street, Department 6, to fill an expired term on the Conservation Commission, term to expire February 2027.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. Obviously, we just heard from Spencer. I think this is going to be a great addition to the Conservation Commission. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, I agree with you.
All right, awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. That's all we have for Personnel, Veterans, Human Services Committee. A call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, sir. We are adjourned at 6:52.
Say aye.
Oh, yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
We adjourned.
We voted for you.
So-
He's a nice guy.
I missed and hit my computer. I would like to call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6:54. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would entertain a motion to approve the records of April 23rd, 2024. Thank you. Motion's in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, we will now go into the public hearings. We'll read the notice of the first public hearing, please.
Public hearing, May 7th, 2024. Public hearing regarding a change to the exempt classification plan by adding a licensed social worker to the exempt classification plan. In accord with the state's mandate, the city's opioid settlement funds plan calls for the hiring of a licensed social worker to assist the city in serving and supporting residents and family members struggling with the impacts of opioid use disorder.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor?
Yes.
Please come to the... Ellen.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, as you know, I've requested that we add this to the classification plan. The city did receive opioid settlement funds. We have two positions that we've already filled, the recovery support navigator and the peer support specialist. Those are embedded in the POP team in the police department. And so far, they've been a great addition to our team. So to round out the team, we'd really like to add the licensed social worker. As you know, we have, between the opioid crisis and the mental health crisis, this would be something that would really be great for both staff and for the residents. The mayor has been a big proponent of advocating to help with mental health, and I think that's, excellent, and this would really be helpful. As you know, we've had some challenges at the library as well. This person, we're hoping, can help us with some of those challenges, so we think it'd be a really great addition to the team.
Excellent. Council Holmes.
Thank you. I'm really excited about this. I'm a social worker myself, so Council Waterman. Is this individual going to work at the police? Where are they going to be
It is not.
stationed?
It's going to be under the guise of the health department.
Oh, okay.
So they would have the resources there, as well as Dr. Quinn. So he's a big resource for the city as well. So it would be in the health department. But like with every department, we try to work collaboratively together and cross-train and use the resources to help each other. So I'm hoping that this person will also spend some time with the POP team, getting to know, and the recovery support navigator and peer support specialist, to get to know who's out there, who can we serve, and I think that's where we need to start. We do have an outreach worker that is starting on Monday, and so we're kind of re-envisioning that position as well, and trying to really get more into the community. Excuse me. So we're hoping this helps. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Council Waterman.
So I'm the other social worker on the council. And
Maybe looking to you too for some help when we're looking at some resumes.
Well, I've had some experience with the police department of Boston and with their social workers when issues came up when I was a social worker in the city. Do you foresee a training component with this social worker, that she might be training some of our own personnel? Or she or he?
She or he, I hope so. I hope so. That is going to be a component. We do want to try to, educate our staff as well, because I don't have all the tools. I'm not a social worker by trade. We have a great EAP program, and we lean on that a lot, but I'm hoping that this person can bring that to the team to help us out with some of those trainings. So I do envision that, and outreach into the community and education into the community. I mean, that's a lot of what these funds are supposed to be used for. So we are envisioning that will happen.
That's good, and I agree with you that the POP team is a focal point, particularly with mental health issues that they experience.
They do great work. I had the privilege of doing the interviews for the recovery support navigator and the peer support specialist, and I learned a lot about the POP team because I got to hear one of the sergeants speak about it, and I didn't realize all that they do. They do a lot more of the mental health side than policing sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I think these positions are a good support for them as well. But hopefully, this is a new position. Anytime we have a new position, I don't have a exact vision of what it's going to be. We have some thoughts that we bring to the table, but I think that we want to have this person help us grow it and be something. So I'm hoping that whoever we bring on has that vision as well and can help us grow the position.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Lynn, thank you for coming down. It really helps us when you come down and talk about this, helps our deliberation.
Anytime.
So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? Amy?
Amy Rillinger, Library Director, and actually just found out about this hearing in another conversation with Lynn this morning, so not as prepared. But as you know, the library is seeing a lot of folks with various issues in the building. We've been talking with the mayor and other agencies in the city about getting a social worker just so that we can learn to respond to people's needs better. So the training component is huge for us, what we're hoping for. We've talked about the hours, how City Hall shuts down 8:30 to 4:30, and what would it be like to have a social worker or outreach worker nights when the library is open, to have someone to rely on. We do have strong connections with POP and the police, but a lot of the issues that we're seeing are don't reach that level, but they are much more than what can be handled at a reference desk or at a children's room desk. And it also means, so twice in the last year and a half, we've seen opportunities at the library to get interns, but without a licensed social worker employed by the city, we can't take part in that. So this actually opens the door for a lot of other opportunities, because social workers in libraries, particularly libraries in cities, is a growing trend that is well in Massachusetts now.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Amy. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? Do we have anyone to speak against? Do we have anyone to speak neither for nor against? Seeing none, Councilor Angelo, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
No, I do not.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing closed. Madam Clerk, will you go on to the reading of the second public hearing, please?
Certainly. Second public hearing regarding an application to waive Section 1-15.1 to serve alcoholic beverages or wine on city property, and a license application, Section 9-20, keeping a stand in a public place for Morin's Inc., 16 South Main Street.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Do we have anyone to speak against? Do we have anyone to speak neither for nor against? I believe that Mr. Moran had dropped off photographs of what it would look like, so we have that. He was unable to attend this evening. Councilor Voigt, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. I declare that public hearing closed. Madam Clerk, would you please go on to the reading of the third and final public hearing of the evening?
Certainly. Third public hearing regarding a new Class 2 license application from Route 1 Automotive, Inc., 883 Washington Street, with 10 customer parking spaces and 55 display spaces.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Welcome, and if you could just give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Wathik Obeid, aka Wally, and I live in North Attleboro at 111 Fisher Street.
So Wally, if you want, thank you for joining us tonight, Wally. If you want to just tell us a little bit about what you're looking to do here, that'd be great.
Well, opening a second dealership. I've been in the car business for 28 years, and started in North Attleboro, and I've been in the city of Attleboro since 2015. I have Automazed Inc. also at on Washington Street, so I'm doing another dealership at my old location.
All right. Do we have any questions for Wally? Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. So, hi, Wally.
Hi.
So your auto maze next to the Chinese restaurant is done, but this is where you're reopening?
That's correct.
Because I noticed that there was no cars there prior to this.
Yes, well, I leased the place to somebody else, and they weren't successful opening a car dealership, so I'm going back in.
Okay, and then auto maze 2,
Well, now it's Automazed on 826. Automazed 2 is no longer exist, and I'm doing Route 1 Automotive Inc. instead of Automazed 2.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Additional questions? Okay. Wally, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Seeing none, Councilor Lavoy, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Okay, I declare that public hearing closed. I would now entertain a motion to enter into committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are now entered into committee of the whole. Does anyone wish to address the city council at this time? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to arise from committee of the whole.
Second.
Second motion is in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have now risen from committee of the whole, rather. We will now go into reading of the mayor's communication.
Certainly. May 7th, 2024. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from MIS Director Bill Lennox regarding the need for funds to satisfy obligations for the remainder of fiscal year '24. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $9,293.45 from the budget and admin account, new computer equipment account, to the budget and admin maintenance of software account, supporting documents provided.
IT and infrastructure, please.
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body we have received the resignation of Jessica Salzman from the Council on Human Rights. Please join me in thanking Ms. Salzman for her service to the city.
That's an FYI, and we thank Ms. Salzman for her service.
As you know, the city's current solid waste contract ends in 2025. Anticipating increased costs due to decreasing landfill space and other economic factors, we are beginning now to plan for contract negotiations. To this end, I have been informed by Solid Waste Manager Cheryl Perry that the Mass DEP Technical Assistance Program has agreed to provide the city with up to 80 hours of hands-on assistance from a Municipal Assistance Coordinator, which it will be known as MAC. This service comes at no cost to the city. Importantly, the MAC will work with us to review our current contract, review the procurement process, and options to consider separate or combined contracts for collection, disposal, processing, automated, manual collection, dual stream or single stream recycling, etc. Provide sample requests for proposals and contracts based on programs of interest, conduct a simple market analysis of service costs, and provide support with a review of contract proposals received. Upon completion, Mass DEP will make its data and charts and any other produced deliverables available to the public, supporting documents provided.
That'll go to the Finance Committee, please.
For many years, the residents of Attleboro enjoyed an annual July 4th fireworks display. This event was a combined effort of the Mayor's Office, the Municipal Council, and volunteers who coordinated fundraising efforts and planning. Paid city employees were also involved in the event, including staff from the DPW, Recreation and Parks Departments, and numerous police officers and firefighters. As you will recall, the 2023 July fireworks event was canceled because of insufficient funds to cover the approximately $50,000 cost for the event. A request to use funds from the citywide special event count to secure a purchase order for a fireworks display later in the summer was not approved by the council due to concerns about using general funds for this purpose and low donations. In the past year, costs for pyrotechnics have continued to rise, and contractual increases in the detail and overtime pay rates for the city staff are in effect. Rough estimates for a fireworks event this year would be around $60,000. For these reasons, and in the absence of a committed and collaborative fundraising effort, there will not be a fireworks event this year. Appreciating the importance of large community events, I am working with Attleboro High School for a citywide event on Labor Day that will be much less expensive than a fireworks display. A laser light show on Labor Day will be a great way to mark the end of summer and celebrate Attleboro's blue-collar roots and the enduring strength of our blue pride. Laser shows are increasing in popularity for several reasons, including reduced cost, respect for veterans and military members who suffer from PTSD, minimal fire risk, and more pet-friendly. Because the event will be held at the high school football field, there will be little or no need for road closures, as there is ample parking on site, and there will be no loud noise to disturb nearby neighbors and animals. Notably, the all-in cost for the event would be less than half of the approximate cost for a fireworks display. Fundraising for the event needs to begin soon, but before doing so, it is necessary to first secure a contract for services with the laser show company. The fiscal year '24 budget includes a special event professional services account, which can be used for this purpose with a needed transfer. Accordingly, I respectfully request your honorable body transfer $15,000 from the citywide special events professional services account to the citywide other financial uses account, and further transfer $15,000 to the citywide other financial services to fund this special event.
That'll go to the Finance Committee, please.
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body we have received the resignation of Greg Bartek from the Board of Recreation Commissioners. Please join me in thanking Mr. Bartek for his service to the city.
So FYI, thank you for your service, Greg.
I respectfully submit communications from Chief of Police Kyle Hegney regarding equipment that the police department would like to surplus. There was no interest in the listed items from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition for trade-in or to sell, supporting documents provided.
City property and claims, please.
I respectfully request your honorable body transfer $73.45 from citywide reserve fund for transfer account to citywide bills previous year's account in order to pay a fiscal year 24 invoice to the city of Attleboro.
Finance committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Budget and Admin Mason Lord regarding the need for funds to purchase a new collector's office printer. As you are aware, the collector's office is planning to start printing bills to be mailed out twice a year, starting with the first quarter tax bills this June. According to MIS, the current printer will not be able to handle the process due to its age, and MIS has recommended the purchase of a new printer. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $4,033 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the collector monitors printers other account, supporting documents provided.
City property and claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Collector Zaida Kiefer regarding the needs for funds to cover postage costs for the remainder of fiscal year 24. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $14,500 from the collector salary and wages account to the collector postage account, supporting documents provided.
City property and claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater Thomas Hayes regarding the need for funds to cover the cost of electricity for the remainder of fiscal year 24. Due to the extreme rainfall in fiscal year 24, the wastewater treatment plant is experiencing record high influent flows. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $60,000 from the Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the Wastewater Enterprise Fund Lights and Power account, supporting documents provided.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Park and Forestry Derek Corsi regarding the need to replenish funds used for callback overtime to cover the high influx of service calls. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,000 from the citywide reserved fund for transfer account to the Animal Control Salary and Wages account, supporting documents provided.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Community Engagement Manager Kaylin Locklear regarding a donation of downtown signage and pole banners from the Transformative Development Initiative, TDI, program. The TDI has been awarded $13,000 for downtown signage and pole banners intended to help establish a sense of place when entering our downtown. The TDI program will allocate $9,000 of this donation for 3 gateway signs, including installation for placement in the downtown area. The TDI program will allocate the remaining $4,000 towards the purchase of 120 pole banners that will display the new downtown brand and be hung from the streetlight poles in the downtown area. The new signs and pole banners will help create a sense of brand and to place to our new downtown area. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept this generous donation, supporting documents provided.
City property and claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Budget Administration Mason Lord regarding a proposed bag fee increase for fiscal year 25. As you are aware, the fiscal year 2025 solid waste budget was constructed with a proposed solid waste fee of $325 and a proposed bag fee of $2.50. The proposed bag fee increase was inadvertently excluded from the fiscal year 2025 budget communication submitted to your honorable body on April 23rd. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body amend section 7-8.1 of the, 7-8.1B of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to establish a per bag cost of $2.50 effective July 1st, 2024. Additionally, I hereby request your honorable body hold a public hearing on May 21st, 2024, to allow for this to be considered and acted upon, along with other matters related to the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget, supporting documents provided.
That'll go to the Finance Committee, and Council Cobus, would you like to call for a public hearing on May 21st?
I would.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding the need to establish a PFAS Water Special Purpose Stabilization Fund. As a member of a class action lawsuit, the city is likely to be recipient of settlement funds related to PFAS. As such, in order to reserve settlement funds that the city will receive as a result of the class action lawsuit, a special purpose stabilization fund is recommended. As you know, Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 5B requires a 2/3 vote of the municipal council to establish this fund. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body establish Fund 8510, PFAS Water Special Purpose Stabilization Fund. The fund shall receive 100% of the revenues received from the settlements related to the PFAS contaminants in the drinking water system. Funds may be expended for capital or debt expenditures of the water enterprise system, supporting documents provided.
Thank you. Ordinarily, that, something like this would go into finance, but given the workload, where it's budget season, we'll be giving this to Public Works.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the need for funds to provide 2 new police recruits with uniforms and equipment. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $5,000 from the police defibrillator stipend account to the police uniforms account, and transfer $8,000 from the police first responder stipend account to the police supplies radio equipment account, supporting documents provided.
Public Safety and Emergency Management, please.
It has come to my attention that the following reappointments were not sworn in within the appropriate time. Therefore, I respectfully resubmit for confirmation, your honorable body, the following reappointments. James Jones, Cable Advisory Commission, Ann King, Cultural Council, David Pierce, Board of Library Trustees, Frederick Garapi, Board of Park Commissioners, and Jennifer Keating Roca, Cultural Council.
Personal Veterans Human Services, please.
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body we received the resignation of Lee Ann Ballou from the Disability Commission. Please join me in thanking Ms. Ballou for her service to the city.
That's an FYI, and thank you, Ms. Below, for your service to the city.
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body we received the resignation of Jessica Lee Jones from the Disability Commission. Please join me in thanking Ms. Jones for her service to the city.
It's an FYI, and thank you, Ms. Jones, for your service to the city.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Laura L. Wayne Wheeler, 67 Mechanic Street, Unit 103, to fill an unexpired term as an alternate member of the Historical Commission, term to expire February 2026, supporting documents provided.
Personal Veterans Human Services, please.
For your information, I regret to inform you that we have received the resignation of Economic Development Director Catherine Feerick, effective June 7th. During her tenure, Catherine played a key role in several large development projects, including the rehabilitation and construction of 37 Union Street, 54 Union Street, and 2739 South Main Street, resulting in hundreds of additional housing units in the downtown area and reducing the downtown vacancy rate from 38% to under 20%. She led the effort to create Cuddy Court, turning a formerly dark and unwelcoming alleyway into a vibrant public event space, and worked closely with the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority to advance the Transit Orient Development District project. Please join me in thanking Catherine for her service to the city.
That's an FYI, and Catherine, thank you for your service to the city. You'll be missed.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding Fund 3343, Globe Street Water Mains. As you know, the Water Superintendent has requested funds to complete a water main project on Globe Street. The estimate for the project, including a contingency, is $150,000. The Accounting Department has been notified that the effluent filter valve replacement project funded in Fund 3338, effluent valves, is complete. This project was fully funded with available funds from the Water Enterprise Fund, and the remaining funds are not restricted. The Accounting Department has been notified that the water main replacements at Park Place and Lonsdale Avenue, funded in Fund 3337, are complete. These water main replacements were funded in part with remaining bond proceeds. As such, the balance in the fund is restricted to projects with economic life cycles equal to or greater than the original issue of related debt. A review of the general ledger indicates that $30,430.71 is available in Fund 3300, Water Capital Reserve. Prior to amendments to Chapter 40, Section 20 in December of 2021, certain premiums were required to be reserved for future projects of similar economic life. More recently, premiums are utilized immediately in the next fiscal year toward debt expenses. After consultation with the city's financial advisor, Lynn Welch, it has been determined that the best use of the previously reserved premiums is toward the Globe Street water mains. after consideration and consultation with the Director of Budget Administration, and based on the estimated project financing requirement of $150,000 provided by the superintendent, the balance of the money needed to fund the Globe Street Water Main project of $24,653.77 is recommended to come from Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the anticipated receipt of public safety answering point support and incentive grant of approximately $165,733 for fiscal year '25 from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, which is known as EOPS, State 911 Department. No match is required by the city. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the expenditure of such funds by the Attleboro Police Department as specified within the perimeters of the grant, and also approve any future grant amendments. Supporting documents provided.
Public Safety and Emergency Management, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance, the receipt of the Hazardous Materials Response Grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Fire Services. This grant is a 10-year contract with an end date of June 30th, 2033. The anticipated total annual expense will be approximately $24,424.82 based on 120 hours of annual incident response. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the expenditure of such funds by the Attleboro Fire Department as specified within the perimeters of the grant, and also approve any future grant amendments. Supporting documents provided.
Public Safety and Emergency Management, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance concerning the need for funds to pay for college credits for fire department staff. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $50,000 from Fire Certification Differential account to the Fire College Credits account. Supporting documents provided.
Public Safety and Emergency Management, please.
I respectfully submit a 3.9+ acre land donation from Linda M. Weston that has been approved as to form by attorney Peter T. McNulty, Murphy, Hesse Toomey, and Lehane LLP. This land, shown as Lot 353, Map 24, is located in North Attleboro and is adjacent to city-owned property in the watershed. I understand from Water Superintendent Courtney Allen that because this property is open land adjacent to a watershed, it can be used for mitigation credits on the city's water management withdrawal permit. Therefore, I respectfully request that your honorable body accept this generous land donation from Ms. Weston. Supporting documents provided.
Zoning and Land Use, please.
Sincerely, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If we can now go into a reading of the clerk's communication.
Clerk's communication, May 7, 2024. We have received a keeping a stand in a public place application from Pinkview Brothers LLP, doing business as Pinkview, 9 Park Street, for 2 tables and chairs from May through October.
License Committee and Council Lavoy, would you like to call for a public hearing on June 4th? I certainly would.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
We have received a renewal scrap metal recycler junk dealer application from Polarized New England Company LLC, 136 Bacon Street.
That'll go to the License Committee, and where it's a renewal, we do not need a public hearing.
We have received a letter from Linda Alger, 24 Handy Street, in support of the mayor's request for a special act to amend the charter to allow the city treasurer and city tax collector to be appointed rather than elected.
Ordinances, elections, and legislative matters, please.
We have received the certificate of vote from the planning board, certifying that the planning board voted unanimously to recommend that the municipal council deny the petition of 10 registered voters to amend section 17-16.0 signs of the zoning ordinance, known specifically as section 17-16.9 table of permitted signs and dimensional regulations related to the regulation of off-premises signs and the duration of timing interval of electronic message boards.
Thank you. Zoning and Land Use, please, and copies to all councilors.
That concludes all the communications for this evening.
Thank you. We will now go into committee reports, beginning as always with Mr. Colbus.
Thank you. Reporting for the Finance Committee. From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to authorize the payment of $73.22 for the following fiscal year 23 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal year 23 business cycle. Lowe's $23.60 and Lowe's $48.62.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Talked about this 6 minutes.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Counselor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to transfer $15,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Library Lights and Power to pay the remaining library electricity expenses for fiscal year 24.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
None, pretty self-explanatory.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Counselor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to hold a public hearing on May 14th for the citywide general budget for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Public hearing.
This is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to hold a public hearing on May 14th, 2024 for the water and wastewater budget for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Public hearing.
Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And from the docket of March 5th, 2024, I move to accept the city's capital improvement program for fiscal year 2025 through 2029 and the following capital improvement plan resolution.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. We will waive the reading of the message as you read it in committee. Any questions, comments rather?
No comment, or just a general comment that I'd like to thank everyone that participated in drafting this message and that participated in the review of the capital improvement plan and in the tours throughout the city. I think it's incredibly valuable to do that, to go out on the weekend, and I appreciate everyone giving up their time and taking part in that. So thank you very much.
Councilor Lavoy.
Thank you. I just want to thank Councilor Cobus for not only putting together the tours, very informative, learned a lot, and just for your work on this. I think it sends a good message. So thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes business for the Finance Committee. Couple committee meetings for next week time.
Thank you. Councilor Foa.
There is no matter before the IT and Infrastructure Committee.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Lavoy.
Thank you. Reporting for the Licensing Committee from the docket of March 19th, 2024. I move to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 139C, along with the additional provisions by amending Section 9-36.7 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as follows.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Discussed it pretty lengthy in committee. I think it's good as it is.
And this is regarding the dog licenses, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That is all for the Licensing Committee. I'll call for committee meeting as appropriate.
Thank you. Councilor Foa, do you mind pinch hitting for Councilor Reynolds?
No. I'm having to present from the docket of May 7, 2024, a motion to transfer $21,735 from the account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to the account Citywide Air Conditioning Unit to replace the mini-split air conditioning unit and condenser in the Shang Building for the Registry of Motor Vehicles.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Is there any comments?
I think this is self-explanatory. What is there is inadequate.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I just want to state for the record that I do work for the Registry of Motor Vehicles, however, not out of that building, other than on occasion. That being said, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares? President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business of the City Property and Plans Committee. I'll call for another committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Forward. Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee from the docket of May 7th, 2024. I move to transfer $1,800 from account park salary and wages to account park professional services for Geese Police Services at Judith H. Robbins Park.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Note we discussed in committee.
Bless you.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to rescind $5,000 of the debt authorized on February 16th, 2021 for the Wading River pilot study. The $5,000 will not be issued as it is not needed for the project expenses or costs of issuance.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Holmes. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Note we discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to authorize the city to expend $37,572 of ARPA funds on costs associated with the purchase of a 6-inch trash pump to be used as flood mitigation equipment.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed in committee.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to transfer $14,496.32 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to replenish funds used to have the entire drainage system from the outfall pipe on Clayton Street to the inlet pipes on Tomlinson professionally viewed by underground cameras due to multiple flooding events. The funds should be transferred to the accounts as follows: $12,950 to account Public Works Survey Camera Work, $1,546.32 to account Public Works Police Detail.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Note we discussed in committee.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 7th, 2024, I move to appropriate $18,000 from account Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to fund account Water Enterprise Fund intergovernmental state match to cover Attleboro's 60% of the required match for funds related to a joint MVP grant that the town of Rentham for the with the town of Rentham for the removal of the Crocker Pond Dam.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed in committee.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of March 19th, 2024, I move to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $35,181,000 is appropriated for the purpose of financing the construction and construction administration for the permanent PFAS facility to be located at the Wading River plant.
You may
to-
waive the reading of the rest of the reading.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, I was just going to finish the address, but
Additional questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have any.
Okay.
I think.
Council Holmes?
Thank you. I didn't know, what was mentioned in the mayor's communication, would that fund be going towards any of this? Are you aware of that, or?
No, I'm not aware at this time.
Okay.
But
Because I
can
think
fi-
that they're just creating the fund, and I didn't know if it was gonna be towards any projects of this magnitude. I was just curious.
Not that I'm aware of at this time, but I can,
So the fund is in the event that there's any settlements, because there's
The
potential
PFAS.
of PFAS settlements that could be
Okay.
coming to municipalities, and that's what that is for. But good question. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
From the docket of March 19, 2024, I move to approve a request from Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, and Verizon New England to locate poles, wires, fixtures along and across the following public way: Forest Street, install one Joe pole on Forest Street, beginning at a point across approximately 140 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Eddy Street and Forest Street, installing new 45/2 pole P5642-50 Forest Street.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
None.
Additional questions or comments? We'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares? Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
From the docket of March 19th, 2024, I move to approve a request from Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along the following public way: Forest Street, install one pole on Forest Street, beginning at a point approximately 56 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Holman and Forest Street. Install new pole 5642, 56 feet south of the intersection of Holman and Forest Streets.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
I had no comments we discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
And that's all the business for the Public Works Committee, and we call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, I have one motion this evening from the docket of April 2nd, 2024. I move to amend section 15-1.3 of the revised ordinance by striking the words 70 police patrolmen and replacing them with 85 police officers.
We'll
Second.
waive the rest,
Sorry.
we'll waive the rest of the reading. I just have to, no, you're excited, but just gotta wait. All right, we'll waive the rest of the reading. It was seconded by Vice President Dolan. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. The police chief came down and explained it pretty well, and we also discussed in committee.
Thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business this evening. I'll call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, I have one motion. On the docket of May 7th, 2024, entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Spencer Lenz, 211 Pine Street, Apartment 6, to fill an expired term of the Conservation Commission, term to expire February 2027.
Second.
Motion's in order. Any comments?
Just heard from Spencer a little over an hour ago, and a little under an hour ago, and he'll be a great fit.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Councilor Foa.
Can you tell me, Councilor Angelo, what is his current position?
As we were speaking in the committee meeting, he is a civil engineer,
No, that's his,
civil environmental engineer.
Councilor Foa, follow-up?
yes, please, thank you. Is he employed by a city or?
So, point of order, I believe he sent in the questionnaire to all the councilors. The appropriate time to ask these questions would have been when he was in front of us. I just don't know that Mr. Angelo is, unless you have it in front of you, Mike.
let's see, he's an engineer at Pear Corporation. His responsibilities,
That's sufficient. I just wanted to make sure there was no conflict.
Okay.
Thank you.
like what, can I ask a question?
You may.
What would the conflict that you were interested in?
If he was employed by another municipality.
Okay.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments or concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all we have for Personal Veterans Junior Service Committee. Call for adjournment. Call for the next appropriate meeting at the appropriate time.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Sawyer.
Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee, I have one item tonight from the docket of May 7th, 2024. I move to approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments regarding the receipt of the community planning grant from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities in the amount of $89,250 to be used to conduct a corridor redevelopment strategy of US Route 1, US Route 1A in Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Well, this was a grant that's coming to us from this Office of Housing and Livable Communities to go and look at the area and what the residents want to have and look at zoning and that type of thing on Route 1. It's in South Attleboro, 1A, and Route 1.
Thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the Zoning and Land Use Committee. I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Waterman.
The Transportation and Traffic Committee has no business this evening. We'll meet at next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Tavares.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for ordinances, elections, and legislative matters from the docket of October 17, 2023. I move to call a public hearing on May 21st, 2024 for changes to section 7.8-2 of the city ordinance requesting a review and overhaul of the abatement process for non-municipal users of the city's rubbish recycle program.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments.
Okay. This requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, and that concludes the business of ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I'll call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor, let's see. Councilor Tavares.
The special committee on tax abatement has no business for this evening.
Thank you. Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. We have no business on the Special Committee on Classification Compensation. Call for meeting at next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Foa.
From the docket of April 16th, 2024, I move to strike the following: to suspend the committee of the whole portion of council meetings pending the conclusion of the council's review of potential revisions to relevant provisions of its rules of procedure.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We've discussed this in committee.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And that completes committee reports. There is no old business, there is no new business, but I just want to remind everyone that I did call for a special meeting next Tuesday night at 6:30 for the public hearing on the budget. That being said, Mr.
If
Cobus.
I may, just a reminder that we do have the budget meeting at 7 p.m. on Thursday night.
Perfect. Thank you. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We adjourned at 7:43. Thank you.